Hello, all out there, everyone. It's good to see you. I'm coming to you from my apartment in New York, and wanted to share a little behind the scenes about one of the songs I'm working on for my new musical, The House by the Sea. I just heard back from an artistic director of a regional theater, and it's been so nice to just get, even just getting responses feels like a win, because I feel like, I don't know about you, but attention spans are brief, and so trying to get even just a moment with someone who has a theater or is interested in new work. Um, I experience a lot of people who proclaim their interest in new work and then try to get them to listen or to read your stuff is like it can be a task unto itself. So, but I just posted the new song, so I want to talk about this. This is a song. I've changed a bit of my writing process, and because all of you out there, my patrons and supporters and people who, hopefully get into this with me, I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about that. Sometimes I think with other creatives can speak to this as well. Like the inspiration strikes, and you find something that really feels right. I'm sitting at my piano. I've got the piano in front of me here. I've got the camera on the piano. Hope it doesn't shake too much. But in this song, You're Not Like Other People, I liked the idea of Richard, who is sort of, I wanted a yin and yang between the two characters. There's only two characters in the show, Julia and Richard. Julia is the sort of, I don't say flighty artist, but she's much more free spirit and maybe not so tethered to the ground, if for one reason that she is an artist and has flights of fancy and dreams and imagines, and that's a necessity for any artist, myself included. But then you have Richard, who is a curator and a gallerist, someone who is interested in the bottom line, but also wants to cultivate new work, but is also, I think there's some aversion to risk. So figuring out how to, for him, I think he's on a journey of trying to marry both the aesthetic and the commercial. And I think they both are, actually. So in this scene, this comes soon after her opening song, which I posted a while back. You can scroll down through the posts and find that video. And I should do a behind the scenes on that one too. But in this moment, I start writing with lyrics first, so I have a subject matter, and I love to find a hook or the returned thought, the returned theme. And in this, You're Not Like Other People, the other theme I thought of was you're not what I expected, which was another. I sort of wrote a song on that didn't really land the way I hoped, so I sort of put that aside. But in this moment, what I think I'm being drawn to in this particular show, and every show is different. No two shows are the same. If a lot of you know this already, I'm thinking about some of my colleagues and friends who are here supporting me, and we have these conversations. No two shows are the same, and so you have to deal with the issues of that particular show, and it's always a mountain to climb in terms of what does that show need, and what's the complication, and also what's the language. In this show in particular, I had Julia's song, which I wanted something kind of dotted, pointillistic maybe, but I'm thinking of Debussy when I think of the Dr. Grada's Parnassum, the Children's Corner, or another one is the Gardens in the Rain, the third movement of the Estampe trio of pieces that Debussy wrote, which I've just poorly demonstrated, but there it is. And that's sort of that excitement of her excited by light, excited by color. I think one of the themes I'm coming to with the show is light, because I heard in an interview, I think going back to some of the things I researched with a real curator, a real live person, saying that light affects the way we look at art and the way we look at a painting and the way paintings are set up and celebrated and viewed. So with her song, I had this idea that something happens when I'm here. Light affects the way things appear. And so I took that line again to put it in Richard. And I think it may be a through line. I don't know yet. It's just sort of coming to life in that way. But all that being said, I started changing my approach by sitting at the piano first and coming up with sort of motivic I don't know, gas, fuel, engine. I'm thinking about oil, just to grease the wheels, to move the ideas forward, so it doesn't get so pedantic. Because I think, as I'm talking to you, there's a lot of thought, a lot of philosophy, but it has to be guttural. It has to be gut level. It has to be visceral. And so with this, I wanted a vamp that is expansive, but it's actually not really going anywhere. And I'm happy to post. Maybe I'll post the sheet music to this. But in this moment, I'm sitting on I'm in A major, and I'm sitting on the 1, the 2, and the 6. So it has that feel of, if you think almost of an amen or a plagal, if you're into that. But in this moment, and my left hand's just giving me some nice major 7 to the 4 and 1. So that kind of gives me over the bar line a longer expression, a 2-bar expression. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, da. I'm in cut time, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I liked the idea of this repeated little flutter, because I think trying to pictorialize or capture sort of that feeling of a glistening light or a moment that's not really clear, and that for me is very interesting, because it's the constant conversation we all have as to what is true, what is real, what's the facts, and I think it relates to sort of, we live in a post-factual world right now, and so, I don't have to say all that with that being sort of in the air in my mind anyway. So with this, I have this, and I can sort of simplify this. We sit on this pedal, and he says, "You're not like other people." I go to the 4. The light affects the way things can appear, and just sit back on the 1. And this is where I like taking a form or simple chords or familiar chords and tweaking them. We're just adding to a genre or what is accepted, And in this, what I want to do before I go on a journey is I want to suspend the resolution as long as possible. I don't want us to get to here. I don't want to get to the 5, because this is going to take us to here if I add that 6 again. So in the chord changes, if I'm landing these longer expressive phrases in the music, I have the 1, I go to the 4, which feels pretty nice because of some of those suspended notes now become resolved in the 4, D, A to D. I go back to the 1, back to the 4, and then I try to surprise us on a high note when he says, "The light exposes something left unclear." And I go to a C major 7, which is not a chord or notes in this key, except that that top note is an E. Light exposes something left unclear. That E shares, instead of in C major, it's the 3rd. I'm just taking that note from the original key. It's the 5th. A major, and E is the 5. C major, it's the 3rd. And then I just sort of add color to that, but then I take it down a half step to the 2 of the key of A major. We're in B minor. When he says, the light exposes something left unclear. It should be hopefully a nice color surprise. It lifts us. And then that takes us just down a half step to the 2. And the 2 should take us to the 5, should take us to the 1. And that's every turnaround in jazz and in music. Typically we have the 2 chord to the 5 chord to the 1. That's simple, that's church, that's amen, go to brunch. But I have to suspend it. I can't let us just get there so easily. So at the end of the first section of this, the light exposes something left unclear. C major. Lots of flutter, flutter, flutter. B minor. The light will keep me guessing. And I love that sort of question upon the minor 7 chord, which I love, and that sort of keeps me wondering. The light will keep me asking what is real. And I decided, because I did that C to B flat, C to B minor, that surprise of that C to B minor, I thought, well, instead of going right to the 5, what if I did the same thing, that same half step, F major 7, which because it wants to go there, because I think our tonic, our home, is here. So from 1 to 4 to a flat 3 or a borrowed chord for a moment, then to the 2, but before I get to the 5, I want to hold that suspension, so I take us to a flat 6, F major 9, something juicy like that, which then takes me to the 5. And I can add all kinds of yummy intervals on top of that pedal, because everything in music is about the bass. If I'm holding 1, as long as I'm hitting that bass note and I'm in root position, it holds to everything else's color and extensions of that chord. So I had that flat 6, that F major 7, and then I take us to the 5, where he says, what is it about this place that makes me feel? And in this song, and I think I find myself loving this idea of going, instead of feel, instead of it being done on the 1, I like the taking the 9th, just the note above, because it's a nice extension. And when you're asking a question, sometimes it's nice to go up. It's like, what did you mean by that? What did you mean? That makes me feel. Why do I feel this way? And why do I feel? And I love sort of that. There's something ineffable, something quality we can't quite hold on to, even in the text. Although I'm trying to make the text as clear as possible, but I think it's sort of very direct. Hopefully, in the same way that it is poetic in saying, what is it about this place that makes me feel? Like, why do I feel something? I feel more than I typically do. And for someone who maybe has an emotional range that's here, this place makes the emotional range like that. It makes it much bigger, which is great. I do similar chord changes throughout. I ran across a happy accident in lyrics. In the second section that kind of deviates, I wanted to, and with all of this, I'm trying to hint at the mystery of the place, the mystery of what happened to Frank, they're both their mentor and supposedly their friend. They have to figure out what the history was between their relationships to him and the two of them not knowing each other, and the history about what they mean to this older friend. And it's sort of a mystery, and so the show and the story and the music is all surrounding mysteries and peeling away layers of the onion. And so I wanted to repeat, it's good to repeat rhymes to sort of show structure and show that you have a sense of not just arbitrarily picking things out, but I'm also being drawn towards a very short, as I see my clock ticking, I'm going on a while, keeping the song short, and maybe it's just one time through something, or it's an A, B, A. In this case, I have the A and a prime, and then a short B that then takes me back to the A. But I like the idea of shades can wrap around you, like if she's captured in some sort of light in his mind, and he's sort of singing this in his mind with lights and beautiful staging that some director will magically put together, I have no doubt, then he sees colors, tints, and hues, which are different ways of describing elements of pigment. The color, a tint, a hue, and then I realized it could be hints and clues. Is that trite? I don't know. it's amazing what music can do for a word, and what lyrics, you take the lyrics out of a song, and they may not work as well as they do in the song. But in this B section, I hold that flat 6 again. I do shades can wrap around you, shades of colors, tints, and hues. Again, I like holding that 9 as opposed to hues. Shades can make you wonder, colors leave you hints and clues. So I also really like that idea of, like, again, an analyst, an art critic said he didn't understand Rembrandt till much, much later in his life. And then when the painting, once he looked at it, he said it was just brown. And then all of a sudden he felt it drawing him in. And when I've heard other art critics and other people talk about the industry, talk about the art houses and the auction houses and the galleries and how to put up a gallery, one of the ways this particular critic measured the excellence of the work is if it drew him in, if it was something that he wanted to look at. And so, again, this song came to me quite quickly. I'm sort of been stuck, and I thought I'll explain this one and move, try to move on from it, which actually feels really good to share this with you. So thank you for sticking through the last 15 minutes of this. The middle section talking about there's another game is this, I'm feeling like their predecessor was one who threw games at them, made them solve riddles, made them answer questions. And so this feels very much like an extension of that. And all that I think is being set up in the story of this show, in the scenes, and in hopefully in some of the music. So I'm going to trust that. And yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Too much music, not enough music. Did that all make sense? Post your questions, post your comments. Of course, I could not do all this and have a place to share all this without you, so thank you for your support, and everyone at Patreon, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
A big thank you to all my patrons who made this video possible. If you liked this video, be sure to check out my Patreon page for more original content like this.